slingshots.
Their only hope is that the criminals will go. When, 7 minutes into the firefight, Matasaranu climbs in the Chevy and shouts at Phillips to do the same, officers pray they'll make their getaway without further bloodshed.
If they had wanted to get away at that point, they could have drove out that parking lot right then.
The side of the wall over here, that's where they stayed. The one gunman stayed in his car, and the other one sort of walked back and forth in front of the cars, as you see in the video. I was waiting for these guys to make a break for it. I mean, when I was here, they could have gone through the cops with no problem. They could have gone down Ark Wood and just gotten away with no problem. They only had the green light, but
allí se encuentra uno de los policías que comenzó esta balacera, tratando de conseguir, te digo, en este momento la policía está intercambiando balas.
I was waiting for these guys to make a break for it. I mean, when I was here, they could have gone through the cops with no problem. They could have gone
de conseguir, te digo. En este momento la policía está intercambiando balas. En este momento la policía está intercambiando balas con los presuntos asaltantes.
The white over in the handicap parking in the bank.
Then they point out that one guy just abandoned the money bag, and at that moment they said, like, okay, these guys are just.
If they could have drove out that parking lot right then.
But Phillips knows he's packing the bigger weapons, and he's not finished yet. LAPD is faced with an unprecedented scenario. Robbers who want to stay and fight.
The white car is the getaway car. Here is another pack over in the handicap parking in the bank.
Then they point out that one guy just abandoned the money bag, and at that moment they said, like, okay, these guys are just.
If they had wanted to get away at that point, they could have drove out that parking lot right then.
But Phillips knows he's packing the bigger weapons, and he's not finished yet. LAPD is faced with an unprecedented scenario. Robbers who want to stay and fight.
We had never dealt with a situation like that in the history of law enforcement in this country. I mean, this was the first time that they had a shootout of that magnitude.
Not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will.
Never seen anything like this in all the time that I've been here in the city, and I've seen quite a few bank robberies, and this is just absolutely unbelievable. Normally they would be holed up inside the bank, but this is just completely brazen when they come out of that bank like that with no regard whatsoever, not only for their own situation. There's the officers firing right there. We do have some activity. Here he is. He's right beside the truck, continuing to walk eastbound. Now, I don't know what happened to the person in the car, but this guy is just continuing to walk. Oh, he's firing some more at the officers. And the officers are off to his that they can stay away from this suspect's gunfire. But I cannot believe this guy is just continuing to come out here and
walking around in the parking lot with their automatic weapons, brandishing their automatic weapons. This situation, we were also from this wider shot, they have the situation, well perimetered right now, but of course now you have suspects that are acting we have suspects that are acting quite brand. Okay, we're following the suspect car right now. We've seen
a guy who is almost nonchalant in the way he's walking around in that parking lot.
And sort of indiscriminate firing.
A clip full of bullets. He just sets down. Now he's changing. Another clip, pulls it out of what looks like an ammunition pack, puts another clip in there, and he's getting ready to do the same thing over again. Now you see the white car? The white car is the getaway. They're using this getaway car as cover as they fire at police who are all taking cover across the street.
As well as residents and people who happen to be shopping in the area just hit the ground.
We heard one of the people in the bank who was just entering the bank when this was taking place, people were still lining up at the ATM machines. The second gunman, he's on foot. Perhaps they feel that they have a better chance if the gunman drives and the other gunman provides tactical cover. This is almost a military type of tactical situation. These guys act as if they have had military training.
And until we do, we'll keep searching around this area here and keep an eye out. But right now, apparently he's moved over to a street called Archwood, and I'm not sure. That's just south of Van Owen, and it's just up the street here, just a little bit north of this location. So we'll take a look up there and see if we can find a suspect vehicle on Archwood, but
Archwood and Ranford, I think.
Archwood and Brantford or something like that. Anyway, we'll be looking around trying to see if we can locate this car. And so far, they've got one suspect. And okay, we have the car in sight right now. We do have the car. It's right up here, just a little bit south of Van Owen. And as you can see, they've got bullet holes all in the windshield of this car. And I don't know what relationship this pickup truck has to that car. Oh, there he is. It's a suspect coming out of that pickup truck. And he's firing. I don't understand what's going on here. He's firing into the car.
With bullets riddling his legs, Matasauranu goes down. He's been shot 29 times, but he's still alive. As SWAT officers move in to arrest him, finally, with bullets riddling his legs, Matasauranu goes down. He's been shot 29 times, but he's still alive. Back on the streets, one injured man is still bleeding out. Emil Matasauranu lies here for 70 minutes until his body succumbs to the trauma and he dies.
testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them, and kill them. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And they suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and shall send gifts to one another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. And after 3 days and an half the Spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them.
The high-incident bandits fired over 1,100 rounds of ammunition. That's a bullet every 2 seconds. What were they hoping to achieve? They could have made their getaway. When officers raided their apartment, amongst tens of thousands of dollars, they found a possible cause for the gang's bizarre behavior. In the VCR was a copy of the 1995 Hollywood heist movie, Heat. The similarities between the film and the shootout are uncanny.
Act of God, a stroke of his hand over the whole situation.
The thing also said that they caught those two guys. They picked them up a couple of months before the actual robbery in a car loaded with guns, ammunition, magazines, high-capacity magazines. Couldn't make any of the charges stick, so they let them go. They proceeded to go home, make their own body armor, give them their guns back.
Wow.
No, yeah, they had AK-47s, thousands of rounds of ammunition, 20 to 30 high-capacity magazines in the trunk of this car, but they couldn't actually make any charge.
Yeah.
So they had to actually give them all.
Quick, guys. I don't know, Ant, if you noticed, like they were talking about how these guys were all jacked up on meds too. So even if they took a round, they wouldn't really feel like the pain, and they wouldn't bleed quickly and stuff like blood thickeners or whatever it was. They were really clever with this whole thing.
They went all out. Yeah, because I know the second.
In an extraordinary coincidence, just 20 meters away. In an extraordinary coincidence, just 20 meters away, 2 officers drive past in their patrol car. They suspect that the giant black-clad figures are the notorious high-incident bandits. Pull up and report a suspected 211, police code for an armed robbery. This is the actual call they make.
5840, requesting assistance. We have a possible 211 in progress at the Pink Corner.
Something Caparelli applauds. He had trouble sleeping, coping, and suffered a stress-related stroke 5 years after the shooting, putting him out of work for a year and back on a desk job.
It was a big wake-up call. I changed my attitude. I changed my health routine and so forth. Actually, my job actually changed. I was never able to go back to work the field anymore.
He also watched 3 of his colleagues commit. His book aims to share the unforgettable experience and give intimate insight into how the events we see unfold on live TV live on in the hearts and minds of.
Later suffered post-traumatic stress syndrome. 3 committed suicide. Others, depression and substance abuse. Mayor.
He hasn't faded. Today.
No, for those of us who were here 10 years ago, there are things seared in our souls.
Every time I start to talk about it, it brings me back.
Those who were there remember it well.
Oh, this is going to get ugly real fast. Exactly what I thought. This is going to get ugly real quick.
10 Spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted, and gave glory to the God of heaven.
So we got monitors knocked off right in the newsroom.
Flashing as if lightning was hitting the valley, and those were, of course, the transformers blowing up.
After I heard a roar.
Yes, I do. We were watching we could see just lights flashing as if lightning was hitting the valley, and those were, of course, the transformers blowing up.
After I heard a roar, the building began to shake.
Great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted, and gave glory to the God of heaven. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Chapter 11. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, Our Lord was crucified.
There are things seared in our souls,